A historic venue in Belfast operated for over 100 years until September of last year. The Colonial Theatre meant so much to the community, it's reopening next month. Sierra Whaley has more on future plans for the beloved landmark.
Every time we spoke with local people, their heart was there. It's been beautiful.
After closing its doors in 2022, the Colonial Theatre, an iconic historic venue in Belfast, will reopen in November.
It's very emotional to know the impact that this will have on the community and to get to be part of something with such an awesome team.
After the Catanias bought the theatre, it was their decision to place it under the ownership of Hawthorne Theatre and Arts Collaborative, a nonprofit that'll bring films, partnerships, and educational programs to the venue. But there's one part of this process they're most excited about.
One of the things we're most excited about is Kyle Walton, as the new executive director, was raised in the community and came up through the Colonial and is an awesome filmmaker in his own right.
My elapsed time of working in this lobby is over 20 years.
Walton worked at the Colonial in high school. In fact, the theater inspired him to study film himself. When he realized the historic venue could be closed for good, he came back in 2021 and worked as an operator.
The industry right now is in an absolute kind of precarious place for the third out of 4 years, but also, there's tons of great independent voices that can get screened.
Just like Ann Continelli, who is making a documentary about saving the theater. The new owners say the process wasn't easy, but the Belfast community showed a multitude of support, and that's exactly what makes this place one of a kind.
It's so wonderful to feel the community's love and support for the reopening.
Be involved with the Colonial and help make sure that these doors don't close again.
Sierra Whaley, WABI TV5 News, Belfast.
The reopening date for the theater is November 4th.